You are out here convinced that a good motorcycle has to cost $10,000. It does not. Right now, on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, there are 15 incredibly capable machines sitting in garages, massively underpriced because the internet forgot they existed. Engines that will outlast your car, reliability that will embarrass brand new bikes, and price tags that will genuinely make you laugh out loud. 15 of them. Right now, let us get into it. Number 15, Kawasaki Ninja 650R 2006 to 2012. We are starting with a bike that fell through the cracks of the entire motorcycle market. Super sport riders want these 6R. Beginners get pushed toward the Ninja 400. The 650R just sits there in the middle, completely ignored. Priced like it committed a crime, it did not commit. That confusion is your profit. Under the tank is a 649 cubic centimeter parallel twin that is punchy, smooth, and genuinely capable on any road you point it at. The seating position is upright and comfortable. You can commute on Monday, blast a twisty road on Saturday, and arrive at both destinations without a sore back or a speeding ticket you cannot explain to your insurance provider. With a price tag of between $2,800 and $3,800, this bike's engine is bulletproof. Aftermarket parts are everywhere. The only things worth checking before you buy are the front fork seals and the condition of the under-engine exhaust, which has a mild tendency to rust on older examples. That is it. That is the entire concern list. Everything else just works. Depreciation has already bottomed out completely on these. Smart money says it holds its value for the next 3 years minimum. But if the 650 feels a little too sensible for your personality, the next bike on this list has never been accused of being sensible a single day in its life. And it is even cheaper. Number 14, Kawasaki Vulcan 500, late 2000 series. Here's a secret the cruiser world does not want you knowing. You do not need 1,000 cubic centimeters to have a great time. The Vulcan 500 proves it convincingly by borrowing its heart directly from the legendary Ninja 500R sport bike, wrapping it in cruiser clothing, and refusing to apologize to anyone. The parallel twin engine gives you real highway passing power in a package that weighs next to nothing compared to traditional big-bore cruisers. The seat height is low. The handling is nimble. It is the cruiser that actually moves when you ask it to, instead of just looking like it might eventually get around to it. Reliability is excellent. Parts are easy to find. Just check the double wall exhaust for failure, inspect the chassis for rust, and confirm the tires are not older than the last presidential administration before you hand over the cash. At $1,800 to $2,800 for a capable, lightweight, genuinely fun cruiser, that is a number that barely makes sense in today's used market. But if you want something that sounds like a real V-twin, carries genuine cruiser presence, and looks the part without the cruiser tax, wait until you hear what is coming next. Before we go any further, hit that like button right now. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it tells us to keep making content exactly like this. Number 13, Honda Shadow 750, Aero or Spirit. The Honda Shadow 750 is the motorcycle equivalent of a completely reliable best friend. Not flashy, not dramatic, not sending you panic texts at 2 in the morning, just always there, always starting, always running, and never giving you a single reason to open your wallet for anything except fuel. And at $2,800 to $3,900 on the used market right now, the fuel is basically the most expensive thing about owning one. The V-twin engine is shaft-driven, meaning there is no chain to lube, adjust, or fling black grease across your right leg at 70 miles per hour. Parts are available everywhere. The maintenance schedule is simple. This is the bike you buy when you want to ride, not wrench every other weekend in a parking lot wondering where your free time went. It looks like a proper big cruiser without the big cruiser price tag attached. The exhaust note is respectable. The seat is comfortable for longer hauls. The only things worth inspecting before purchase are the drive shaft splines for wear and the interior of the fuel tank for rust. After that, you are simply done worrying. The Shadow holds its value remarkably well because experienced riders know exactly what it is. The undisputed buy it, ride it for 3 years, sell it for the same price motorcycle. You can walk away with all of that for $2,800 to $3,900. But what if you want something that conquers highways, chews through dirt roads, and handles daily commuting all in one single machine for around the same money? Number 12, Suzuki V-Strom 650 V-Strom. Nobody with any fashion sense would call this motorcycle pretty. It looks like it was designed by a committee of engineers who had collectively never seen a magazine. That aggressively utilitarian appearance is the entire reason it makes this list. And right now, the market has them sitting at just between $3,200 and $4,000, which is the real crime here. Because while everyone else was buying bikes that look cool, V-Strom owners were quietly racking up 100,000 miles on the original engine and laughing softly at everyone else's service bills. The 650 cubic centimeter V-twin is legendary in the adventure community for one beautifully simple reason. It refuses to break. The riding position is upright and comfortable for hours. The suspension handles rough roads with total composure. Here's the part nobody talks about. That V-twin makes its torque low in the rev range, making city riding effortless and highway cruising relaxed, never demanding that you work hard just to keep up with traffic. It will tour, commute, and explore dirt roads without ever asking you to choose between them. Check the wiring harness under the seat for corrosion and inspect the swing arm linkages for seized bolts. Do those two things, and you have a machine with a genuine cult following and decades of proven reliability sitting in your garage for under $4,000. But if you want something that handles with more urgency and rewards an enthusiastic riding style, the next machine is going to put a very specific grin on your face. Number 11, Suzuki SV 650, 1999 to 2007. If motorcycles had personality types, the SV 650 would be the one that shows up to every party, knows absolutely everyone, and somehow wins every argument about what is actually fun to ride. Nobody ever argues with an SV 650 owner. They are always having too much fun. The V-twin engine is universally loved in a way that very few motorcycles ever achieve. Ask anyone who has owned one. The torque hits low and hard. The handling is sharp and communicative, and it is equally at home carving back roads and filtering through city traffic without missing a beat. Club racers have been abusing these motors for decades, and the engines just keep running without complaint. Early models are widely considered ugly ducklings. Yes, that is also why they are cheap. Cheap meaning $2,200 to $3,500 on a good day, which for this engine is practically theft. Check for top-end tapping at startup, which reveals a history of neglected oil changes, and inspect the frame carefully for cracks that suggest an undisclosed track day meeting with a gravel trap. Clean examples are actually beginning to appreciate slightly as enthusiasts recognize what a genuine bargain they represent. The window on these is closing, and once it closes, it does not come back open. But for sheer urban agility in a package that weighs almost nothing and costs even less, our next bike exists in a category entirely its own. Number 10, Suzuki DRZ 400S, 2007 to 2015. This is the motorcycle that does not care whatsoever about your city's terrible road maintenance. Potholes, speed bumps, broken pavement, curbs. You absolutely should not be jumping, but definitely consider every single morning. The DRZ 400 treats all of it as light entertainment. The 400 cubic centimeter single-cylinder engine is brilliantly simple in the best possible way. There's almost nothing on it to break. The aftermarket support is enormous. Parts are cheap and available everywhere. Maintenance takes a Sunday afternoon, not a panicked week of waiting for parts from overseas. The stock seat is narrow and firm, yes. Every single DRZ owner mentions it within the first 60 seconds of conversation. Every single DRZ owner also rides the thing for 50,000 miles before mentioning anything else negative about it whatsoever. That says everything. Check the oil levels carefully before buying because these engines consume oil when pushed hard. And inspect the wheels for rust or bent spokes. After those two checks, you have arguably the most capable urban assault vehicle for somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000, which for a machine this capable is genuinely laughable. Supermoto platforms hold their value beautifully because demand never really fades. But if you want something that combines long-distance comfort with genuine daily usability and refuses to break, the next machine on this list is Honda doing what Honda does best. Number 9, Honda CB 500X, 2013 to 2015. Somewhere between a lightweight beginner bike and a full adventure tour, Honda quietly built exactly what most people actually need, and then barely told anyone about it. The CB 500X was criticized at launch by hardcore off-roaders for its 17-inch cast wheels. Street riders thought it was an ADV bike. Everybody ignored it. Classic Honda building something genuinely excellent and somehow failing to make noise about it. The 47 horsepower parallel twin is smooth, tractable, and regularly achieves over 70 miles per gallon in real-world riding. Here is the number that matters most. Owners are routinely reporting 100,000 miles on the original engine without major failures. For a sub-$4,000 used motorcycle, that statistic is not just impressive, it is extraordinary. And you can own one for just $3,200 to $4,000. Check the valve adjustment records carefully and confirm the chain and sprockets have been properly maintained throughout its service life. Look for any hidden electrical modifications under the seat before committing. Find a clean example and you have a machine that beginning riders will not outgrow and experienced riders will not get bored with. That combination is genuinely rare at any price. Value will hold solidly for the foreseeable future because the demand for reliable, versatile middleweights only continues to grow, while supply of clean examples slowly shrinks. But what if you want something with genuine cruiser character, a proper V-twin heartbeat, and a maintenance schedule so simple it feels like cheating? Number 8. Yamaha V Star 650. Custom or classic, the V Star 650 has one of the best kept secrets in all of motorcycling. It sounds significantly bigger than 650 cubic centimeters should legally be allowed to sound. That deep, uneven loping exhaust note comes from a cleverly engineered V-twin firing pattern, and it will make people at stoplights genuinely glance over and try to figure out what they are hearing. It is comfortable in a way that surprises people. The seat is wide and plush. The riding position is completely relaxed. The shaft drive means zero chain maintenance, ever, for the entire life of the motorcycle. Yamaha produced this bike for so many consecutive years that the aftermarket parts ecosystem grew into something enormous, making everything from cosmetic upgrades to mechanical fixes remarkably affordable. The only genuine concern is the rear-wheel drive components and spokes, which deserve a careful inspection before purchase because replacements can be expensive if they have been neglected by a previous owner who is not paying attention. Outside of that single item, you are looking at a genuinely reliable, characterful, low-maintenance cruiser at a price that barely feels real in today's market. That price being between $2,000 to $3,000 in case you need a moment. The V Star is not a highway missile by any measure. It lacks a sixth gear for sustained 80+ mile-per-hour cruising and will let you know that clearly. But for weekend rides, city loops, and the occasional passenger run through the countryside, it is exactly enough motorcycle. If you want something that handles genuine highway touring, carries a passenger comfortably, and comes loaded with a detuned sport bike engine that never runs out of ideas, the next bike changes the entire conversation. Drop a comment right now telling us which motorcycle on this list you would actually buy. We read every single one. Number 7. Suzuki TU250X, 2009 to 2019. Everyone sees the word 250 and immediately closes the tab. That is the entire reason this motorcycle sits on the used market for between $2,500 to $3,500. And that is the entire reason it belongs on this list. Modern riders have decided 250 cubic centimeters is a temporary beginner displacement. What they are ignoring is that Suzuki built this particular 250 with fuel injection when most retro-style small bikes were still running carburetors, dressed it in genuine 1970s classic styling, and tuned it to return between 75 and 80 miles per gallon in real-world riding. That is not a beginner bike. That is a brilliantly focused machine the market has completely misjudged. The single-cylinder engine is bulletproof. Suzuki has been building versions of this motor for decades across global markets. Routine parts are cheap and available immediately through Partzilla or a basic eBay search. Before buying, check for cosmetic rust if the bike lived outdoors, and listen for a loud whine from the fuel pump at startup, which signals old fuel clogging the system. Cheap fix, but worth knowing up front. Classic-styled small displacement bikes have a steady, dedicated market that never disappears. Ride it for 3 years. Sell it for what you paid. That is not depreciation. That is a free motorcycle. But if you want something built specifically for long-distance highway miles with touring comfort as the primary mission and a V4 engine that has been breaking longevity records for 20 years straight, the next motorcycle is going to stop you completely in your tracks. Number 6. Honda ST 1300 Pan-European. People look at the ST 1,300 and see a bulky, dated touring machine that looks like it should arrive with a mandatory reflective vest. What they are actually looking at is an engine that routinely runs 200,000 miles without major surgery. Not 100,000, 200,000. That is not a typo, and it is not an exaggeration. The longitudinally mounted V4 is one of the most brilliantly efficient engine layouts ever installed in a production motorcycle. The crankshaft runs front to back, parallel to the frame, allowing the drive shaft to connect directly without a heavy, power-robbing 90-degree bevel gear in the middle. Shaft drive eliminates chain maintenance entirely. The electrically adjustable windshield lets you dial in protection at highway speeds with a single button press. The integrated hard luggage is already on the bike. This is serious touring hardware priced at between $2,800 to $3,800 like used furniture. Check the coolant hoses running under the engine's V-bank before you commit to buying. Replacing them is genuinely labor-intensive work, so confirming they are in good condition up front saves a substantial bill later. Outside of that one specific item, these machines are astonishingly trouble-free. Honda sold these to police fleets for years, sustained high-speed operation across multiple riders, across multiple shifts. The fact that these engines still reach 200,000 miles under those conditions tells you everything you need to know about what is inside that engine case. But if you want something lighter, more nimble, and completely unfussy to own and operate, the next bike is the Honda that never gets the credit it deserves. Number 5. Honda Nighthawk 750. The Nighthawk 750 does not care what year it is. It started reliably when it was new. It will start reliably today. It will start on the coldest morning of the year without complaint, without ritual, without warming up for 7 minutes while you stand in your driveway, questioning all of your recent decisions. The 747cc inline 4 is one of the most underappreciated engines in the entire history of Japanese manufacturing. Simple, durable, completely unfussy. Maintenance is straightforward, parts are easy to source, and the bike asks almost nothing of its owner beyond basic routine service at regular intervals. That is the entire relationship. It is refreshingly uncomplicated. It looks classic. Some would say plain, some would say boringly conservative. That exact plainness is also why it costs almost nothing on the used market right now, because younger buyers want aggressive visual drama, and this motorcycle is not remotely interested in performing for anyone. Check for rust inside the fuel tank and listen closely for timing chain rattle at cold startup. Find a clean example and you have a turnkey, ride anywhere motorcycle that will refuse to give you diagnostic headaches for the foreseeable future. The best part? It is available right now for between $2,000 and $3,000. As vintage-style standard bikes continue growing in popularity among collectors and enthusiasts, these are beginning to hold and even gain value quietly. But if you want single-cylinder character, parking lot maneuverability, and a cruiser light enough to actually enjoy in city traffic, the next bike is a revelation. Number 4. Suzuki Boulevard S40 Savage 650, $1,800 to $2,600. One cylinder, 650 cubic centimeters, barely over 350 pounds wet. The Boulevard S40, widely known as the Savage, is the lightest cruiser on this entire list, and it uses that lightness as an absolute weapon against every heavier machine around it. A single-cylinder thumper with a strong torque, pulse off the line gives it a raw, immediate character that multi-cylinder bikes genuinely cannot replicate no matter how hard they try. It is punchy at the throttle, incredibly easy to maneuver at low speeds, and completely effortless to flatfoot at red lights. Parking lot maneuvering feels more like handling a large bicycle than managing a motorcycle. The air-cooled engine is brilliantly simple. Check the drive belt carefully for cracks before purchasing. The cam chain tensioner is the one well-known concern on this specific engine, but it is a thoroughly documented issue with thoroughly documented solutions that the aftermarket community solved years ago. After that fix, the engine essentially outlives everything around it. Bobber builders love this platform passionately. Beginning riders love it. Petite riders particularly love it. And because all three of those groups are constantly searching for one, the resale value stays remarkably stable year after year. Under $2,600 for something this capable, this light, and this full of character is a number that deserves to be repeated loudly. But for maximum versatility, tall rider comfort, and a suspension system that turns terrible roads into a complete non-issue, The next machine is the one that nobody saw coming. Number 3. Kawasaki Versys 650 first generation, 2007 to 2009. Nobody bought the first generation Versys 650 because of the headlights, specifically the bug-eye dual headlights that made every single person who saw one say the exact same thing out loud within approximately 4 seconds. Yes, they are unusual. Yes, they are deeply polarizing. And yes, that aesthetic disagreement has made this motorcycle extraordinarily cheap on the used market, which is fantastic news for anyone who actually prioritizes riding over posing. We are talking between $3,000 and $3,900 cheap. The 649cc parallel twin is the same engine that powers multiple Kawasaki models across different generations, meaning parts are abundant, cheap, and available through approximately 100 different suppliers. The suspension is long travel and genuinely capable, soaking up brutal urban potholes with complete composure. The riding position is upright, commanding, and comfortable over long distances in a way that lower, sportier bikes cannot match. Taller riders in particular find this ergonomic setup to be exactly what they have been searching for at a price they cannot argue with. Check specifically for stator failures and inspect the rear shock for leaking seals before committing to a purchase. Those two items account for the majority of what goes wrong on these. Outside of them, you have a highly versatile, genuinely capable machine that holds its value solidly because every rider who discovers it quietly refuses to let it go. The utility here is undeniable and completely underpriced. But if you want something with superbike DNA and a friendly, approachable package that does everything well and breaks almost nothing, the final two bikes on this list are going to feel exactly like the motorcycles you have been looking for the entire time. Subscribe to the channel right now. We drop breakdowns like this one regularly, and you do not want to miss what is coming. Number 2, Yamaha FZ 600, 2004 to 2009. Yamaha quietly built one of the most genuinely useful motorcycles of the 2000s, handed it a detuned version of their legendary R6 engine, gave it comfortable upright ergonomics, and then somehow forgot to tell anyone it existed. The FZ 600 slipped through the market almost completely unnoticed, which is why it is sitting on Craigslist right now for as low as $2,500. The inline 4 pulls strongly from low RPMs through the entire range without drama. It is docile enough that a returning rider can rebuild confidence immediately. It is exciting enough that an experienced rider never finds themselves bored on a familiar road. That specific combination of traits is genuinely rare and enormously valuable in a used motorcycle, and most buyers have completely overlooked it. Reliability is strong and consistently reported across hundreds of owner accounts over many years. Parts are widely available through multiple channels. The stator is the one item to confirm is functioning correctly before purchase, and the underseat exhaust heat shield is worth inspecting for rattles on older, higher mileage examples. Those two checks take 15 minutes total. For riders returning to motorcycling after any significant break, this is arguably the single smartest re-entry point on the entire list. Familiar enough to feel immediately manageable, exciting enough to remind you exactly why you missed riding in the first place, affordable enough that you feel nothing but smart about the decision the morning after you buy it. Number 1, Honda VTX 1300. Here we are, the final motorcycle on this list, and it might be the single smartest purchase of all 15. While every buyer in the market obsessed over the massive 1800, the heavy, complex, expensive sibling, the 1300 sat quietly on the used market, being dramatically underpriced, waiting patiently for someone who is actually paying attention. The 1312cc V-twin uses a single-pin crankshaft. Both connecting rods share one pin, and that engineering decision creates the uneven firing pulse that produces the deep, rolling potato-potato exhaust note that Harley-Davidson riders pay $25,000 to approximate. It comes standard on this Honda for $3,000. Let that fully register. The shaft drive means absolutely zero chain maintenance for the life of the motorcycle. The single 38mm constant velocity carburetor is simple, proven, and diagnosable with basic hand tools in your own garage. No laptop, no dealer diagnostic software, no subscription to a platform that develops its own opinions about your riding habits. When something needs attention, you know what it is, where it is, and exactly what it will cost. That mechanical transparency is worth real money in the current market. Listen carefully for cam chain tensioner noise at startup and inspect the swing arm thoroughly for rust before committing to purchase. Outside of those two specific checks, you are looking at Honda V twin reliability wrapped in genuine American cruiser presence and priced at a level that makes absolutely no logical sense for what you are actually receiving. Low, long, stretched out in all the right ways. Wide pullback bars that make maneuvering 660 pounds surprisingly easy at parking lot speeds. This is the cruiser that was quietly smarter than everything around it the day it launched and has been quietly smarter than everything priced near it on the used market ever since. On a market full of overpriced nostalgia and aggressively depreciated promises, that combination is the rarest thing of all. 15 motorcycles, 15 engines, 15 completely legitimate reasons to stop scrolling past extraordinary value just because the paint is a few years old or the gauges are not digital. Every single bike on this list will outlast a brand new motorcycle loaded with electronics that will develop strong opinions about firmware updates by year 2, while someone else is sitting at a dealership arguing about a warranty claim on their digital dash. You will be tens of thousands of miles deep into a motorcycle that cost you $3,000 and has never once asked you for anything unreasonable. Continue the ride and click on the next video. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video.